Hello, this is Andrew with Mammalian.bike, and this is a set of 45 North Dillinger 4, which are 27.5 by 4 inch studded fatback tires. As you can imagine, these are probably incredibly heavy, but on a fat bike, who cares really, right? You're not going fast, or that you're not going to go fast no matter what you're doing. This has 252 studs. They are supposed to be tubeless ready. I'm going to get them weighed, which is I'm sure going to be painful, and then we're going to put them on the rims. So let's get it out of here. Not that it's going to make much difference, but okay, that was complicated. All right, so scale is ready. Drop it on. 1,489.2 grams. All right, so let's get the other one out and just see what that one is. Hopefully that's a little bit easier to get out here now that I know what I'm doing. Yeah, that wasn't so bad, right? All right. And this one is, dropped some weight. This one's only 1481.9. Now, for reference, this is a GP 5000, a 25C GP 5000 tubeless. It is 306.9 grams. So yeah, this is a beefy guy. Let's go get it on the wheels. Here we are with our Sunringle Mulfoot 80, don't know how to say that. This is actually going to be the second time I've set up these tires, these 45 North Dillingers, on these wheels. The first time around, I didn't realize that Cannondale, when it said tubeless ready on its website for this bike, that it did not include the tubeless valves for these wheels. So I just went ahead and bought the Sunringle tubeless valves for the wheels. It is worth noting, I already have one mounted on here, and there were some tricks around that it took me a little while to figure out how to get that on. So instead of showing you all of my struggles with that one, I'm just going to show you how I did it here once. These are directional tires. On the rear, you're going to want these chevrons pointed that way. I assume that's for grip. And then on the front tire, you would want them pointed the other direction, towards the direction of travel. That is printed on the sidewall, no big thing. So let's get these on. There's not a whole lot of challenge to getting these on the rims. It's almost comically easy if you are familiar with, or you've ever done a road or gravel tubeless tire. It's just super, super easy. You just kind of walk them on with your thumbs. Obviously you want to line up your logos, you know, because that's the way you do things. I am going to do one thing differently here than I would do with a road or gravel wheel, and that's I'm going to put the sealant in here before I close the wheel. There are two reasons for that. One, this is a lot of sealant, and using an injector to put this in would be a pain. And two, the Sunringle tubeless valves are kind of narrow. So using an injector, well, you can use an injector. They're not, I couldn't get the injector into the tire. I could only get it into the valve, which makes it a little bit more difficult to work with. But as you can see here, it's really no trouble at all just to get the tire on. You can just walk it on, no problem. Now that our tire is on, we're going to use a tire lever to help us mount the tire on the rim. And hopefully I can do this facing away from me. So basically just kind of grab the tire and using the lever, kind of walk it into the rim and encourage it to go into the rim with your thumb. And get as much as you can, but don't push down on the wheel while you're doing this, otherwise you end up with a lot of sealant on the ground. That is a lesson I learned the hard way. Oops, I just took it off. It is a little bit complicated to get this technique down. Basically the idea here is you just want to get do as much work as you can to seat the tire, because of the volume that we're working with, it's pretty tough to overwhelm the tire and force it onto the rim even with an air compressor. Let's see if that's enough. You don't have to do the whole thing, obviously, you just have to do enough to get it to go. And then you just also have to be really careful when you're blowing this. I have taken out the valve cork because just the volume, there's no way it's going to work otherwise. You don't want to overwhelm your wheel. These are rated only to 15 psi, so be careful. Yeah, that's not going to go, so I need to walk this around a little bit more. Let's try the other side. So there we're going. So that's 7 psi seated. I'm going to take this out, put the core in, and then take it back up to 10 psi or thereabouts. All right, so that's 10. And then you just do what you normally do with a tubeless tire. So how much weight do we save by doing this? Well, there's the 100 grams or so of tubeless sealant that you put in here. And these valves are about 7.5 grams. But the tube that we took out was 434 grams, I think. I'll put all the numbers up on the screen here. So if you subtract that out, you get about 320 something grams saved per wheel, which is pretty good. So here we go. And then obviously you just kind of let these sit like you would any other tubeless tire, and then put them back on the bike.
All right, so it's time to close the loop on these Dillinger 45 North Dillinger 4 studded snow tires. So the biggest thing to note is that they are not tank tracks, and that's disappointing to me because I found some snow here. As you can see, the bike's just kind of sitting up by itself that I can't get through, which is unfortunate, but that I think is an unrealistic expectation. Other than that, they are absolutely magnificent. I haven't lost a stud on either tire. I did go through a seating process with them. I don't know how necessary that is, but it was recommended to me by some folks who ride fat tire studs. Basically, you go down to like 4.5 psi, and then just ride slowly on a hard surface. I did it on a sidewalk next to my house. I just rode like a mile or two on the sidewalk at a low pressure, and that's supposed to push the stud into the tire fully. But otherwise, yeah, they're just absolutely brilliant. They work well in the snow as long as it's not too deep, and they let you climb up pretty much everything as long as the snow is not too deep. So I would highly recommend them. Aside from the tank track thing, the only negative that I really have is that they're just really expensive, and I wish that they weren't. Hopefully you found that useful. If you did, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, let me know, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.